Tell me something. Why do younger women fall so hard for older men? It's not just about money or status or experience, though yeah, those things help. The truth runs much deeper. It's in the way he carries himself, the way he flirts. He doesn't rush. He doesn't beg. He doesn't waste energy trying to prove he's worth her time. Instead, he drops signals so subtle, so powerful, that she feels them in her body before her mind even understands what's happening. And once you see these 7 flirting tricks, you'll understand why older men don't chase younger women. The women chase them. 1. The accidental touch. That isn't accidental touch is one of those things people underestimate, yet it holds a quiet kind of power. A man can talk for hours, but a single brush of his hand can communicate more than any sentence. The secret older men know is simple. It's not about touching often, it's about touching rarely and deliberately. And sometimes the strongest touch is the one that feels like an accident, but isn't. Picture this. He's walking past her at a crowded cafe, sliding behind her chair. His hand lightly grazes her lower back as if steadying himself. To everyone else, it looks casual, meaningless. But to her nervous system, that spark registers instantly. Psychology calls this sensory priming. The body reacts to contact before the brain has time to process. That feather-light graze, that near accident, plants a thought in her head she can't shake. Why did that feel different? Now here's the trick: subtlety. Younger men often miss it completely. They either avoid touch altogether, standing stiff and awkward, or they go overboard, pressing too hard, too soon. Both mistakes ruin the mood. Too little, and she feels nothing. Too much, and she feels invaded. The experienced man walks the line perfectly. His touch lingers just 1 second too long, not enough to be obvious, but enough to make her replay it later. It's like leaving a song stuck in her head. She keeps thinking, was that intentional? Did I imagine that? And that uncertainty, that questioning, makes the spark sink deeper. Here's another scene. They're laughing at a shared joke, playful energy in the air. He leans in, places his fingertips lightly on her arm, then pulls away with a smile, as if it was instinct. The move lasts barely a heartbeat, yet her body betrays her. Goosebumps rise. Her heart speeds up. She's suddenly more aware of him than she was a moment ago. The older man knows this truth. Women don't crave constant contact. They crave anticipation. The suspense of what might happen next excites her more than what's actually happening now. That's why the accidental touch works. It's not heavy. It's not begging for attention. It's a whisper of something more. Think about how most younger men behave. They try to prove themselves with big gestures, pulling her close too quickly, holding on too long, thinking physical contact alone creates attraction, but attraction isn't built in the obvious moves. It's in the pauses, it's in the almosts. So when an older man brushes her hand, lets his fingers graze her wrist, or steadies her gently while stepping past, he's not rushing, he's not desperate, he's setting the stage for her imagination to take over. And here's the real beauty. When a woman starts imagining, she does half the work for you. The older man doesn't touch often, but when he does, it's unforgettable. That's the secret of the accidental touch that isn't accidental. 2. The voice that makes her lean. In most men think it's about what they say. Lines, jokes, clever remarks. But an older man knows the truth. It's not the words, it's the way they're spoken. His real weapon isn't a pickup line, it's his voice. Deep, slow, steady. That's it. Nothing fancy, nothing rehearsed. Just a calm tone that makes her lean in, that makes the rest of the noise fade away. Psychologists call this paraverbal dominance. Basically, it means tone and rhythm communicate more than content ever will. Picture this. The room is buzzing with chatter. Music, laughter, plates clinking. He leans slightly closer, lowers his voice. Not so much that it's hard to hear, just enough that she has to move toward him. Suddenly, It feels like there are only two people in the room. Everyone else disappears. That's not an accident. That's control. Younger men often get this wrong. They talk too fast, too loud, trying to fill every pause. They think more words equal more charm, but all it does is make them sound nervous. The older man? He embraces silence. He lets his words breathe. Each one lands heavier, more meaningful. Here's another detail. A slow voice doesn't just communicate maturity, it vibrates. Literally. The sound travels through her body before her brain even processes it. A deep, steady voice creates a physical response. That's why sometimes she smiles at something he said, even if the words weren't funny. It's not about the joke, it's about how it felt when he said it. Think about it. A boy cracks 100 jokes in a rush, and she laughs politely. But an older man, with a calm pause, drops one simple sentence, soft, deliberate, and she remembers it hours later. There's power in the waiting. When you don't rush to fill silence, you create suspense, and suspense is where attraction grows. She starts to lean in, not just to hear, but because she wants more. She chases that steady rhythm. Imagine him asking her a simple question, voice low. So, tell me what you really think. Then silence. She feels it. Her heart speeds up, her mind scrambles. It's not the words, it's the way the question wraps around her, steady, confident, unhurried. Younger men talk to impress. Older men talk to connect. They understand women don't remember every sentence. They remember how those words made them feel. And when your voice makes her feel calm, safe, and slightly aroused all at once, you don't need to talk much. You just need to talk right. That's the trick. Not the loudest voice in the room, but the one that makes her lean in closer, just to catch a whisper. 3. The eyes that undress without a word. Eyes can do what words never will. An older man knows this. When he looks at her, it's not rushed, not desperate, not darting around like a boy who's scared she'll notice. His gaze is steady, grounded, unshakable. And that's why she feels it in her body before she even realizes. Psychologists call it the extended gaze effect. Holding eye contact raises oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and deepens attraction. But here's the twist. It's not just looking, it's how you look. Picture this. She's telling a story. Most men are just waiting for their turn to speak, nodding without really listening. But he's quiet, his eyes locked on hers, a faint, almost secret smile playing at his lips. He's not interrupting, not rushing, just watching her with calm patience. She feels it instantly. Her body reacts before her mind catches up. Maybe she stumbles over a word. Maybe she looks away, then back again, trying to escape that intensity. But she can't, because his eyes already said everything without a single word. Younger men make two mistakes. Some scatter their attention, checking their phone, looking around the room, distracted. Others stare too hard, too needy, making her uncomfortable. Both break the spell. The older man knows better. His gaze is controlled. It's confident, but never creepy. It doesn't beg for her attention, it commands it. And the beauty of it? He's not doing much, he's just being present. That's what younger men don't get. Real presence is rare. Most people are only half there, thinking of what to say next. But when a man looks at her as if nothing else matters, she feels seen. Not just her face, not just her body, but her. And when a woman feels seen like that, it undresses her in ways hands never could. Picture her laughing mid-sentence, then realizing he hasn't looked away once. She gets flustered, maybe bites her lip, maybe blushes. Because his eyes are peeling away the walls she hides behind. Not aggressively, not forcefully, just steadily. Calm, patient, deliberate. Here's the truth. A steady gaze tells her you're not afraid of her. You're not desperate. You're not chasing. You're simply there. And that's exactly what makes her chase you. You don't need to say anything special. Sometimes silence paired with eyes that don't waver is enough to haunt her long after the night is over. She'll replay it, thinking, why did that look feel so different? And that's the trick. You don't touch, you don't talk, you just look, and let her imagination do the rest. 4. The whisper meant only for her. There's something about whispers that makes them feel dangerous. A whisper isn't just sound, it's intimacy. It bypasses her logic, skips her mind, and lands straight in her body. Older men know this secret, and they use it without effort. In a noisy room, a younger man might raise his voice, trying to be heard, almost performing for everyone around. The seasoned man doesn't bother. He leans in, lets his breath brush against her ear, and he whispers something, playful, teasing, maybe even ordinary. It doesn't matter what the words are. The delivery is the seduction. Psychologists call this proximal communication. The closer the voice, the stronger the emotional impact. When someone whispers to you, it creates a private world, a bond that no one else is part of. And women love that. It's not about the joke or the line, it's about the exclusivity. Picture this. They're at a party, laughter filling the air. He leans close, lowers his tone, and whispers, "You noticed what he just did, right?" She laughs, but the laugh isn't from the words, it's from the heat of his breath, the way her skin tingles. That 1 second of closeness says, "This moment belongs to us." Younger men usually ruin this. They talk too loud, too much, as if they're performing for approval. But older men, they know less is more. A whisper is a secret shared. It makes her feel chosen, singled out, like he's letting her in on something the rest of the world doesn't get. And here's the key. She won't remember the exact words. What stays with her is the sensation, the goosebumps, the shiver down her spine, the way her body betrayed her. Whispers collapse distance. They draw her in. They make her chase the sound. And once she associates your presence with that kind of intimacy, it's nearly impossible for her to forget it. 5. Owning space without saying a word. Confidence isn't always loud. In fact, most of the time, the loudest guy in the room is the weakest one. The older man understands something younger men often miss. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up in posture, presence, and the way he uses space. Think about how people enter a room. The boy rushes in, cracking jokes, trying to be noticed. He moves fast, gestures big, speaks louder than needed. He's begging for attention. The older man? He does the opposite. He walks in slowly, unbothered, as if the room already belongs to him. He doesn't fight for space. He simply owns it. Psychologists call this spatial dominance. Humans are wired to judge status based on body language and the way someone occupies space. When a man slouches, crosses his arms tightly, or shifts around nervously, it screams insecurity. But when a man stands tall, relaxed shoulders, steady movements, it communicates authority. And authority is magnetic. Picture him at a bar. He doesn't lean forward frantically. He leans back, comfortable, his body language open. He's not trying to pull people in. They naturally gravitate toward him. Even without speaking, he's already set himself apart. Younger men overcompensate. They move too much, laugh too loud, trying to prove they're fun, trying to outshine. But the irony? That extra energy makes them look unsure. The older man knows restraint is more powerful. Stillness becomes a statement. Here's the beauty. Women notice this instantly. They scan the room and their eyes land on the man who seems unaffected. He's not trying to get anyone's attention, yet he's the one they want to notice. That calm presence says, "I don't need validation. I am validation." It's not arrogance, it's not aggression, it's calm ownership. A man who feels no need to prove himself ends up proving more than anyone else. Think about how lions move. The cub runs around, playful, trying to assert itself. The old lion? He just lies there, steady, yet every animal knows who rules. That's the effect of controlled presence. And here's the deeper psychology. Women are drawn to safety mixed with quiet dominance. A man who can own space without shouting is a man who can handle pressure, who won't crumble when things get tough. His body language says what his words don't need to. I'm in control. That's the difference. Younger men fight for attention. Older men make people give it freely. The way you use space, the way you move, the way you stand, it all speaks before you ever open your mouth. And if you master it, you won't just be noticed. You'll be unforgettable. 6. The dangerous pause. Before the smile. A smile can change everything. But an older man knows timing is everything. He doesn't flash a grin instantly. He doesn't give away his reaction too fast. He lets her wait. He lets her wonder. And in that small delay, the smile becomes dangerous. Why? Because of anticipation. Psychology has a term for it: delayed reward anticipation. The brain releases more dopamine when something is expected but doesn't arrive right away. It's the same reason suspense in movies feels so addictive. That tension builds desire. Picture this. She says something clever, expecting him to laugh or smile. Instead, he just looks at her, silent, unreadable. The pause stretches. She starts to question herself. Did he like it? Did she say something dumb? Then, slowly, the smile breaks across his face. She feels the rush immediately, not because of the smile itself, but because she earned it. Younger men ruin this all the time. They smile too quickly, too eagerly, as if they're desperate for approval. Their reactions are cheap because they cost nothing. But when an older man holds back, even for just a few seconds, his smile becomes valuable. The pause isn't hesitation. It's power. It makes her lean in emotionally. It tells her without words, I decide when I reveal myself. And women love that. It creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is intoxicating. Here's another example. He locks eyes with her across the table. No smile, just steady, calm presence. The air feels heavier. She shifts in her seat, maybe tucks her hair behind her ear. Then finally, the corner of his mouth curves upward. That half smile says more than a paragraph ever could. The pause also separates him from every other man. Most guys rush to please. The seasoned man doesn't. He knows his reaction is a gift, not something to hand out cheaply. And when he does finally smile, she feels chosen, special. Like she pulled something out of him that no one else could. This is why the pause is dangerous. It doesn't just build attraction, it creates addiction. She keeps replaying it. That moment she wasn't sure what he was thinking. That uncertainty hooks her. So remember, it's not about smiling all the time. It's about smiling with timing. The dangerous pause before the smile turns something ordinary into something unforgettable. 7. The silence that seduces louder than words. Most men are terrified of silence. They rush to fill every gap with jokes, stories, noise. But an older man understands the truth. Silence is a weapon. When used right, it's more seductive than any line. Here's why. Humans naturally hate gaps. Psychologists call it tension-building silence. When a space opens in conversation and one person doesn't rush to fill it, the other feels compelled to. That's when she leans in, talks more, reveals more. In silence, she begins to chase his reaction. Picture this. They're sitting together, the conversation slowing. Instead of scrambling for something to say, he simply looks at her, calm, steady, relaxed. The silence stretches, but it doesn't feel empty. It feels charged. Her heart races. She breaks first, laughing nervously, or brushing his arm, or asking another question just to keep him engaged. That's when you know silence worked. Younger men mess this up constantly. They fear losing her attention, so they keep talking. They try to entertain, as if they're auditioning, but that constant chatter kills tension. There's no space for attraction to breathe. The older man lets silence do the heavy lifting. Combined with eye contact, relaxed posture, and maybe that slow, dangerous smile, silence becomes magnetic. It's not awkward, it's electric. Think about it. When two people sit together in silence and it feels comfortable, that's intimacy. That's connection. That's when she feels safe and pulled in at the same time. And when silence carries weight, she starts craving his next word. The beauty is, silence makes her do the work. She starts wondering what he's thinking. She imagines. She fills the gap with her own desire. And imagination is always more powerful than explanation. Here's a secret. Silence says confidence. Only a man secure in himself can sit quietly without fear of losing her. That calmness is rare, and rare is attractive. So the next time you're with her, don't rush to fill the gap. Let the pause breathe. Let the silence speak. Because sometimes, the quietest moments shout the loudest. So here it is. 7 powerful flirting tricks older men use. Not by chasing, not by begging, but by mastering psychology and presence. The touch that feels like an accident but lingers. The voice that makes her lean in. The eyes that undress without moving a muscle. The whisper that feels like a secret. The calm way he owns space. The dangerous pause before the smile. And finally, the silence that makes her crave your next word. These aren't cheap tricks. They're signs of control, of maturity, of stoic calmness. And younger women? They can't resist it. If you want to keep learning secrets about attraction, psychology, and stoic self-mastery, make sure you subscribe right now. Smash that like button if this video opened your eyes, and comment the word magnet below to let me know you're ready to become the man women chase instead of the man always chasing.